Welcome back everyone, Sacred Sage here, and I am making a video on spotlights and eye catch. So I briefly discussed what spotlights were in my last video. I'm going to go more into detail in this one. And the eye catch is basically catching that light of a spotlight in the eye of a figure that you have, like this one right here that I got from my visual novel. If I go into eye ray, I got a spotlight hitting her. Now you'll see like a little glimpse of it in her eyes. I got it as a dark scene, so it's a little bit harder to actually see it. But as it renders through, you can see the eyes start to get a little bit of light in them. And the reason for this is it really brings a little bit of life to your character or your model that you are posing. So that's the whole purpose behind it. And sometimes I even have two spotlights. So I'm going to go through some of the settings dealing with the spotlights and kind of like demonstrate what they do. So let's find it. Where you at? Spotlight. All right, so spread angle. Let me go ahead and get out of eye ray and go into, oh, I'm already in perspective. Ooh, should have been in camera. So you can see the light of which it's projecting. So what spread angle does is it takes that same amount of light and just makes it wider, or you can bring it in more of like a focus fire. Now it's going to be the same amount of lumen going through it. So if you're doing like a focus fire type of lighting like this, it's going to seem a lot brighter because it's hitting a smaller area, and the opposite for if you go really wide. So I just keep that at default for most of the time. I really don't mess with it all that much. Beam exposure kind of goes into that same aspect. So it's it just makes it like hit harder. So think of it like a laser. I normally don't mess with either one of these two settings when I am messing with a spotlight. The main setting that I mess with is light geometry. If I'm doing eye catch, I normally do disc, but I also like doing rectangle, so you can kind of see like a little rectangle in the eye when you're up close. And I'll mess with that more as I get through these settings. I will demonstrate that. So height and width of the light, that's pretty much the reflection in the eyes. So this is not the default. They start at 10. For the disc, I normally stick around 40. That is like my go-to. I might make it smaller, I might make it larger. It depends on how close, far away the camera and the spotlight is. So that being said, I always have my like go-to. So this is what I start at, and then I work from there based on what I'm doing. This is always set to on, render emitter. I instantly turn that off. So what that does, let's go into camera and let's zoom out. So if I go into eye ray, this might not show up. We'll see. Actually, yeah, it will. So you'll be able to see the spotlight in a render. No, you can't see it. So if I go to actually render it out, so let's do this, and let's say I'm going to render this image out, and while it's rendering, it actually shows the spotlight. And I don't even know why they even have this as a setting, to be fair, but you can actually see the spotlight when it's on. Did I even turn it on? I didn't even turn it on, did I? No, emitter on. So when you go to render out, you actually see it in the render, and it's retarded. It should be like automatically turned off. I don't even know why they have it. See, a big black spot. And it still shows up in reflections and stuff. This little white light, that is from the spotlight. It's retarded. So I normally Photoshop that out. So turn this off. Lumen is how bright you want the light. So let's get back close up to our model here, and let's go ahead and go into eye ray. And then we're going to mess with this lumen. So right now, It's just a white color and it's 6,000 lumen. Let's say you want a hell of a lot more. Let's say you want it to be like, I don't know, a deer in the headlights or something like that. You can jack up this lumen. Let's go to 50K, and you'll be able to see a big difference. Look, boom! It looks like there's like a light beaming on her. So messing with the lumen, depending on the situation. I normally only use spotlights for eye catching anyway, so mine are normally relatively low. Some situations to where I would use a spotlight is if, let's say I got two characters and I'm trying to make a decent eye catch for both of them, but the spread or the angle of one spotlight is too close to another. I will take one spotlight and just move like way back, and I'll have that really bright, but hitting both of them. So I do that on occasions, not too often. It's mainly just a eye catch to make the characters look a little bit better. All right, let's see what else. The temperature is basically the lower it is, the more of like a yellow tint, red tint it's going to get. The higher it's going to be blue. Another one that I mess with is in, where's it at? Display. Ray length. This one right here. So the default's at 2.5, and what ray length does is it determines how far this goes out. So it's going all the way out to right here. That little circle, that is the ray length. You can increase that and decrease that with this. So if we pop that up to 5, bloom, that thing goes way on out there. But we don't need it at 5. We'll just keep it at the 2.5. Just enough to hit the model. It's actually too much. I could actually take the spotlight back. And there's a lot you can do with the spotlight too. So going back into this, and this is like a darker scene. It's at night. Let's say you want that like moonlight kind of tint going on with the spotlight. What you can do is just change the color. It's pretty easy. So you just go to the light tabs with the spotlight and just change this color. I like this color right here for my nighttime. So it gives like a little blue tint, as you can see. Kind of like hits the hair, reflects off of that a little bit. There's quite a bit of fireflies, but this is just for demonstration purposes. You'd have to mess with the brightness and how close it is, and there's other ways to get around the lumen stuff too, but I'm not going to get into it in this video. I also got a spotlight way out here too, so to make it look like a nighttime scene, I have a spotlight really bright way out here. Boom. It's at 225,000 lumen, really far out to hit that scene right there. All right, going back to the catch light though. So let's say you want a different look for the eye catch. You don't want the disc. Let's get up really close so you can see the catch in the eye a little bit better. Let's say, oh, let's change it back to white too. Might make it a little easier to see the eye catch. All right, there we go. So we can mess with the shape that's in the eye. The shape's kind of like small, all right? So, oops, I'm on the wrong one. We can change this. Let's double this. And you'll see the shape of the disc change as well. See, it's quite a bit larger than what it was. So as that renders out, it gets brighter, and you can tell more of it. Now we can also make a rectangle shape. All you got to do is make a rectangle. So we can change this to rectangle, and then for rectangle, I normally start out at randomly. I just pick a couple numbers. Let's say 20 and 70. And then we'll let this render out, and you'll see kind of a rectangle in the eye versus like that little speared disc instead. So I bounce back and forth depending, like if it's up close, I normally do like 2 spotlights, one from like 45-degree angles, one hitting from one side, one hitting from another side, to catch kind of like both of them, and it gives it a little bit more pop to the eyes. So I do that quite a bit on my single model close-up shots. So, and you can see the rectangle in the eyes too. So that's basically the whole point of spotlights for me anyways. I don't really tend to use spotlights for anything else right now, unless it's like but every scene's case by case too, so gotta take into consideration. Let's see, what else can we talk about? That's the intensity. So this makes it brighter, right? So the intensity, it just determines how bright it is. I don't even mess with it. I just keep it at 100% because you can just mess with the lumen. Oops, let's try this again. All right, there we go. So you can see about what the brightness is. I'm just going to double this, and you can see that's a good way to go into Daz. If you don't know what something is, just take it and just go to one extreme or the other, and you can see what exactly it does. You can tell she's a lot brighter now in the face. So intensity naturally increases it, while if you take it down, it'll just decrease it. It's just another way of lighting it. I normally just, like I said, stick to lumens. It's just easier. Now you can change a lot of other settings in here too. I just don't mess with them. I just don't. You don't have to go way into detail on a single light to get the effect that you want. So that's the height and the width. Beam exposure I went over. Shadow type. I actually don't even know really what that does. I've never messed with shadow type. Two sides, if you have this, the spotlight will hit from in front and behind it. So that's what that does. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers spotlights as a whole. And I'll probably go into ghost lights and talk a little bit about ghost lights next, because lighting really is the most important thing when it comes to renders. Lighting makes it or breaks it. If you have bad lighting, you can have a good possible render just be terrible. And this is how it is. Daz loves light. That's the best way to put it. It's just Daz loves light. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. And just tell me what y'all want to see next. I can go ghost lights. It's probably what I'm going to be the next video that I do, though. So just let me know. Leave a comment below. All right, guys. Take care.